Hello there, good evening and compliments of the season. This is ABUJA Dispatch, a special platform created to bring to your living rooms those events and issues, and indeed those characters that have shaped the entire socio-political landscape of the federal capital city Abuja in the last 1 week. Dec.2019 Arogbodo is my name. Let's start off with the weekly review of those events and stories that made up our headlines in the outgoing week.
The 2020 appropriation bill recently passed by the National Assembly has been passed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. The budget provides for aggregate expenditure of 10.594 trillion naira, an increase of 264.95 billion naira over the executive's proposal that was submitted on October 8, 2019 before the joint session of the National Assembly. At a short ceremony in his office, President Muhammadu Buhari said the executive is now well positioned to effectively implement the budget and deliver the government's promises to Nigerians as businesses can now plan more effectively. It is the hope of Mr. President that the passage of the finance bill by the National Assembly will further support the funding and implementation of the 2020 budget when passed into law. The president therefore applauded the patriotic zeal adopted by the 9th National Assembly, which has restored the budget cycle to a predictable January to December fiscal year. Meanwhile, the president has directed that efforts be made to ensure the presentation of the 2021 appropriation bill to the National Assembly in September 2020, while urging all federal ministries, departments and agencies to cooperate with the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to keep to this timeline.
As part of pre-Christmas police mop-up exercise, more than 70 suspects have been arrested and paraded for various crimes. Parading the suspects at SARS headquarters in Guzape Hills, Abuja, the Force Public Relations Officer Frank Umba said the Intelligence Response Team and Special Tactical Squad have been working to proactively take off some of the dangerous elements and ensure safety of the citizens before, during and after the festive seasons. Umba revealed that bags of ammonia, a substance used in making improvised explosive devices, were also intercepted by the team. A 27-year-old suspect, Abubakar, said one of the 4 arrested for transporting tramadol from the eastern part of the country said they were escorted by 2 military men. Meanwhile, exhibits recovered during the mop-up exercise included 9 AK-47 rifles, over 4,000 carts of tramadol tablets, 18 television sets, 184 ATM cards from different banks, and 3 other assorted weapons.
The National Executive Council has been advised to utilize the pension fund towards providing infrastructure in the areas of power and rail sectors. This advice was contained in the interim report of the NEC subcommittee set up to see how pension funds can be used as the usual practice is in other countries. This was part of the considerations entertained by the Council at their 100th meeting at the last for the current year, presided over by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Also briefing the media, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the council received the report of the Committee on Security and Policing, headed by the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State. Sanwo-Olu said it gladdens the council that security situation has improved across the country, with a great reduction in proliferation of small arms. Meanwhile, the council also received the Committee on Mines and Steel Development's report, which advised the ministry to evolve detailed sensitization and advocacy in the communities while calling for a review of the Mining Act. The Universal Basic Education Commission (UBEC) says about 2.5 million children in the country are unable to access basic education in Nigeria due to lack of school facilities within their environment. The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Hamid Boboyi, disclosed this at the national launch and presentation of the 2018 National Personal Audit Report in Abuja. He explained that UBEC is pleased to work with its partners at the state and local government levels towards putting in place a dynamic data collection regime beginning from January 2020. Despite the positive achievements made with the National Personnel Audit exercise, Boboyi pointed out that there are still data gaps which must be taken care of as the country moves forward in sustaining its educational database. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, assured that the ministry will entertain the full implementation of the recommendations made in the report, while urging state governments and relevant stakeholders in the education sector to make use of the data provided in the report. Development partners and other stakeholders in the education sector at the event commended the report and pledged their support to work with it in order to assist national development of the basic education sector.
Any time from now, it will be an offence for any vehicle with mass weight about 45,000 tons to ply on any road across the country. The Minister of Works and Housing disclosed this while receiving the National Executives of Public Transport Owners of Nigeria Association in Abuja. The minister said mass loading exceeding the prescribed 45,000 tons was one of the reasons some major roads in the country collapsed easily. While expressing commitments to the various road construction projects across the country, Mr. Fashola added that the maximum weight policy for roads is coming on the heels of an order by President Muhammadu Buhari and is applicable across the economic community of West African States region. The chairman of the Drivers' Union, Mr. Isaac Uhunwago, described transportation in Nigeria as being chaotic, adding that collaboration between government and the transport operators would create order and discipline on Nigerian roads. The association, however, indicated its backing for tolling policies if that will ensure good maintenance of the major highways of economic values in the country. Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, says cultism is a social menace which must be faced headlong. To this end, all security architecture in the state have reserved to identify troubled spots where acts of cultism and related crimes are predominant with a view to employing all strategies towards halting the trend. The governor gave this stand while addressing State House correspondents on the state of security in Lagos State. Governor Sanwo-Olu, however, urged Lagos residents to go about their lawful duties before, during and after the festive seasons, as all hands are on deck to ensure adequate safety of lives and property across the state.
Cultism is a social menace that we're facing frontally. It's a fallout of either, peer pressure, unemployment, and people are just of criminal tendencies, right? So two things happened at our last council meeting. We had said that we want to identify people that can still be remedied, right? And we said that's at the state council meeting. And we said that using the Commissioner of Police that we will identify areas where all of these things are prevalent and we will try and see if we can remedy them. Remedy meaning that let us identify what are the things we can do for them. What are the social vices that has led into this? Is it unemployment? Is it empowerment they require, just so that we can take them out of it? But people that are criminally minded will certainly, be brought to books. So we're trying to use, some sort of like what we'll call an amnesty to sort of like tell you, get out of this, see no more, and we'll be able to rehabilitate you. But if you decide, to still want to continue, the full arm of the law will certainly come, on top of it. And we're monitoring and we're ensuring that it's not what is available in our area.
Welcome back. Over the years, petroleum pipeline vandalism has become a thorn in the flesh of successful administration in Nigeria, as the nation loses more than $12 billion annually to pipeline vandalism issues. This is our focus on Dateline this week. Join us.
In Nigeria, petroleum and associated products are transported through extensive network of pipelines that run across different locations throughout the country, from remote to populated areas. These pipelines are, however, poorly secured, thereby making them targets of repetitive attacks by vandals. Various steps have been taken by government for efficient service delivery, but the problems appear to be on the increase. The frequency of pipeline vandals, siphon and fuel has become a source of worry. Just recently, one of the 7 tankers involved in a recent raid caught fire while stealing from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation facility passing through Ayobo, a suburb of Lagos. Bursting oil pipelines to siphon petroleum products has become inexorable with the country's management of the downstream and upstream of the oil sector. The vandals carefully choose the location of the facility to attack. Quite often, the targeted facilities are in bushy areas or in swampy terrain, thus making it difficult for their acts to be easily noticed and the culprits arrested. Petroleum pipeline vandalism has, over the years, become a thorn in the flesh of successive administrations in Nigeria, as the nation loses $12 billion annually to pipeline vandalism-related issues.
We believe that these challenges are not insurmountable, and that if we have an effective framework of collaboration and partnership between government, communities, and bodies like NATI, then we will have a fighting chance of solving this problem. Now, one way in which the industry has tried to improve security is through the provision of contracts to local communities alongside CSR initiatives. And NNPC on this part has joined hands with relevant stakeholders, including communities, government institutions, and industry players to tackle this problem. When we're deploying technology, putting in place physical deterrent interventions and other soft options to arrest this menace.
The equivalent loss of the petroleum industry in 2016 alone could have been used to build a new 7,000 megawatts power plant, new 350 kpd refinery, over 30% of the national budget, and a new 1,700 kilometers pipeline. Therefore, the effects of pipeline vandalism on the nation's economy is enormous and far-reaching. Aside the economic loss that acts of vandalism results into, other areas of human endeavor are also severely affected. In the process of trying to scoop petroleum products, pipelines may be damaged, while most of the fuel are spilled on the environment. The damaged pipelines may go unnoticed for some time, while the cost of repairs is huge. Petroleum products spilled on the environment wreak havoc, destroying sources of drinking water, killing aquatic and terrestrial animals and plants, and rendering farmlands unproductive. The activities of pipeline vandalism are more than Nigeria losing money from production, costly repairs and cleanups, as well as facility downtime. It is a sad story of consistent pollution of farmlands and rivers by people who are not bothered by the effects of their actions on the environment.
If you are convicted at all, the fines range from 100 naira to 5,000 naira. And even the ones that have jail terms, you are given the option of fine. And some of them that you can say, there's one that actually carries death penalty, but it's for refined products, it's not for crude. So we need to look at the appropriateness and the effectiveness of the legislation that we have.
Since 1999 to date, the federal government through the NNPC has been battling with vandals, resulting in billions of dollars contracts being awarded to Niger Delta militants, members of ABUJA People's Congress, and some security outfits for pipeline surveillance. But it is pertinent to note that protecting such a national asset is not the responsibility of the NNPC alone. It should be everyone's business. Local authorities and residents should be made to appreciate these essential realities as they too bear the horrific consequences of pipeline breaches.
Everybody is involved, starting from security agents, starting from the political powers that be, the politicians, that's so to say, starting from community leaders, the youth, everybody is involved.
Over the past 3 years, we've realized that there's a lot more work to be done. And we've increased our awareness campaigns on the soft side, as well as proceeded to remove illegal structures on pipeline rights of ways. We're also trying to deploy a new technology platform to help us respond to any breaches of our pipeline network.
Shamefully, Nigeria is perhaps the only member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, still importing petrol on account of allowing corruption to cripple its 4 refineries. The waywardness costs the Treasury $28 billion to import the product annually. Oil pipeline thieves cannot continue to have their way. Maximal penal response from government is missing. This absurdity should be reversed to hold this brazen criminality. Security surveillance on the pipelines should be ramped up to minimize the colossal national loss experienced periodically.
Thanks for staying with us. It is exactly 4 months ago that the federal government shut down the nation's land borders. Several reasons have been given for this move. Lagos is one of the strategic states with border posts with neighboring countries, and in the next segment of our program, some federal parliamentarians spoke to us as to what they consider as the gains and the pains of this economic policy. Stay with us.
Goods that are supposed to pass, that were not banned, that were not contraband, that were supposed to naturally pass through our borders, are going through our ports rather, are going to the land borders through some other neighboring countries because they were deliberately reducing their own tariffs to make it attractive to a businessman. You see, there are reasons why you introduce all these tariffs. Sometimes you use it to control influx of foreign goods to protect your domestic production. So if you deliberately put a high tariff to to protect your domestic production, it's not just for the money, it's also for some other benefits, protection of your domestic production, which is key. So if your neighboring countries, your neighbors are now encouraging people to come to their own borders, giving them very good rates. Now they are saying that they want to indirectly kill the own production that we are developing. In the area of rice, we can never perfect this production of rice if we don't get patronage. If Nigerians are not buying it, we have over about 200 million population. That's huge for any country who wants to even start a business. So we are enough market for ourselves.
The basic gain to me is backward integration. It will allow our local industry scale up. It will allow them to invest their money properly because nobody will be dumping second-hand goods or imported goods into Nigeria. So at the end of the day, the prices will fall because Nigerians will be better employed. And the reason why unemployment is high is because we bring in a lot of goods from India, China, and we feed those economies over there. Mm-hmm. If we produce locally, GDP will grow. Well, with GDP growth, there will be employment absorption. So I think it's a step in the right direction. However, I think we should go further. It's now fashionable for countries to wall up their countries. So I'm thinking of moving the motion on the floor of the House. We want to know how much it will cost Nigeria to wall the country around. I know we have close to 1 million kilometers of space, but at least let's know the priority areas where we need to fence up so that access will be restricted.
But by and large, that will increase it will make our economy to grow more by the closure of the borders, and also illegal aliens coming into the country. When the people, the legitimate people, have not been catered for properly, then plus illegal aliens now that you don't even have record, you cannot say they are this or they are that in terms of population. We'll be disenfranchising our people from benefiting.
For government to say they are closing down the land border, they have their own reason. And to me, we sign agreement, we sign treaties. It is for the government to ensure that whatever they sign with neighboring country is followed to letter. It is not for the citizen. Citizen cannot enforce whatever government to government has done. It is in the hand of government. Now, the pains is now on my own people. Me, I'm from Badagry. I represent all the people of Badagry Federal Constituency. And Badagry share border with Republic of Benin. Seme border is the boundary. And you have all the enforcement officers at Seme, where I think they should look at very well. If anything is moving in and moving out, it should be Seme. That will be the checking point where all these things should be collected. But this thing has gone beyond that now. If you are coming from Seme, approaching Badagry, my brother, you have over 25 checking points. When you now get to Baji, before you climb the bridge, that place, I don't know, I don't even know what I should use to qualify it. People will be in that spot for over 1 hour in hold up. My people are really suffering.
The one that draw my attention mostly is one that occurred in my constituency on the 27th of November of instance. Because of the negligence on the regulators, because we put a lot of values to how we want to make money. A skilled operator sighted a mini gas plant between buildings, and the explosion came. People are still dying. Yesterday, somebody told me we have lost another 100. We have lost more than 20 people on this. That's the reason why I said we must talk about this. We must let's wake those people that are sleeping. Those that have the responsibility of guiding is good. It's a good initiative for us to have gas as an alternative to either kerosene or even felling of trees for cooking. But it will be hazardous and unacceptable for us to allow people to lose their life because of negligence, because of some people that decide to relax the rules that have been set. I want to appeal to my colleagues. Let's join hand and make this motion safe through to make it very mandatory for the people that are saddled with the responsibility to do this, to do it. And also call on our own committee on gas resources, to monitor them closely.
That is how far we can go on this week's edition of Abuja Dispatch. For further information, suggestions, and comments, you can reach us out on our various social media platforms. Thank you for allowing us to share your moment this week on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. From all of us here, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year ahead. Thank you and good night.